Hi, so today I wanted to talk about finding the notes on the guitar. So all you need to know for finding the notes are a couple simple rules. The first thing is the musical alphabet, which contains 12 pitches. 7 of them are what we call natural notes. Those are the notes A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Each natural note is separated by a whole step, except between 2 of them. Between the notes E and F, there's a half step. Between the notes B and C, that's also a half step. Now, what are whole steps and half steps? So on the guitar, a whole step is 2 frets. So, for example, between the first fret on the guitar and the third fret on the guitar, that's a whole step. 1, 2 frets. A half step, for example, is 1 fret in between. So you have first fret and second fret. That's 1 half step. So for finding the notes on the guitar, we just have to remember that rule, right? The natural notes are A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Every note has a whole step in between except B and C and E and F. So if we take the A string, it's your 5th string on the guitar, and we use this rule, we'll have the open A string. The next note is B, so that's a whole step away. So we're going to count 2 frets. So that's first fret, second fret. So the second fret on the A string is B. Now, the next note in the musical alphabet is C. And remember that between B and C, it's only a half step. That's one of the exceptions to the rule. So a half step is 1 fret. So from B, we're going to go up 1 fret. And that gives us the next natural note, C. Now, the next note is D. So that's a whole step away from C. We're going to count 2 frets. 1, 2. That's now the 5th fret of the A string, and that's D. So A, B, C, D. That's open, second, third, and 5th. The next note is going to be E, another whole step, so we count 2. 1, 2. 7th fret, that's E. Now the next note is F, so after E is F, which is a half step away, another exception to the rule. So we're going to go up 1 half step, so 1 fret to F on the 8th fret of the A string. Next note is G, that's going to be a whole step away from F. So we're going to count 2 frets, 1, 2, now we're on G. Finally, we're going to go up 1 more whole step to get back to A from G, so G, 1, 2, A on the 12th fret of the A string. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Not too hard, right? So again, all you have to remember is that between every natural note of the musical alphabet, you have whole steps except between the notes B and C and the notes E and F. So let's do that again on another string. Let's do it on the low E string. So that's your 6th string, right? So you have the low E string. What's the next note up from E? That's a natural note, that's F. So we're going to go up a half step. So from E, we're going to go up 1 fret to F. Now the next note's G, so we're going to go up a whole step, so 2 frets. 1, 2. There's G. Then next note's A, again another whole step from G, so we're going to go up 2 frets. 1, 2, A. That's the 5th fret of the low E string. Then we're going to do that one more time. A whole step to go up to B, so 1, 2. There's B. Now we're going to go up a half step to C, right? Because between B and C, there's a half step. So 1 fret up, C. Then we're going to go up another whole step to D, 1, 2, and then another whole step back up to E, 1, 2. E, F, G, A, B, half step C, D, E. if we moved up this note here, this E, up a half step, we get F on the 13th fret. E on the 12th, F on the 13th. Right? So now that's 7 of the notes in the musical alphabet. There are 12 pitches total, so what are those other 5 notes? Those notes are what we call accidentals. So those are the notes in between the whole steps, right? So let's take the notes F and G, right? So F is on the 1st fret of the E string, G is on the 3rd fret of the E string. The note in between is an accidental, and it can be either sharp or flat depending on which direction you're going on the fretboard. So let's take F. If we raise that up by 1 fret, we would call that F sharp because we're sharpening the F. That note is the same sounding note as G flat because if you took G on the 3rd fret of the low E string and you went down a half step, that would be G flat. So one thing you can do to kind of continue memorizing all these notes is just going through each string and counting the frets and figuring out the note spacing, and then picking out the notes, right? So if we were on the G string, for example, we go G, up a whole step is A, up a whole step is B, up a half step is C, a whole step is D, up another whole step is E, you go up a half step to F, you go up a whole step to G, and then finding the notes in between. So you have G, the next natural note is A, so the 1st fret, the one that you skip, would either be G sharp or A flat. And this is a good way to start. It might take a long time to figure out each note, but it's a good way just to kind of get into the practice of memorizing them. Now there's other ways to solidify that memory practice through playing things on the guitar, like scales, chords, and all these things. But one thing I want to start with just for today's lesson is to just talk about a few spots to memorize so that you don't have to count from the open string every time. We memorize the open strings on the guitar, right? That's easy enough. That's E, A, D, G, B, E. So that's cool. You don't have to memorize much for the 12th fret because it's the same thing as your open strings, just an octave up. So E, A, D, G, B, and E. Now that means that you can either count up when you're looking for the notes in this area of the guitar, maybe between the open string and the 5th fret, and maybe you want to just count down from the 12th fret. So that's 2 spots to start from. And then the next spot to memorize is all the strings, all the notes on the strings from the 5th fret on the E string, A string, D string, the 4th fret of the G string, 5th fret of the B string, and 5th fret of the E string, because those are your tuning notes, and you can use those as another starting point to find notes. So 5th fret of the E string is A, 5th fret of the D string, sorry, 5th fret of the A string is D, 5th fret of the D string is G, 4th fret of the G string is B, 5th fret of the B string is E, finally 5th fret of the E string is A. And you can use those to tune, if you ever tune your guitar to itself. Now when you're finding notes, you can count from the 5th fret, the 12th fret, or the open string so that you don't have to count all the way up the fretboard each time. So if let's just place our finger on the fretboard, right? This is the 9th fret of the G string. We can either count from the 12th fret. So if we count from the 12th fret, we know the 12th fret's G. We're going to go down if we go down a whole step, that's F. We go down in a half step, that's E. Now we know that the 9th fret of the G string is E. Let's say if we did this note here, 4th fret of the D string. We could count from the open string, D, go up a whole step, E, go up a half step, F, and then go up another half step to get this accidental F sharp, or we could just go 1 fret down from the G that we memorized on the 5th fret of the D string, F sharp, or G flat. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more guitar content. I'll be posting more videos on memorizing the notes on the fretboard. Today we're just talking about finding the notes and some basic ways to kind of get around to doing that. In the future we'll talk about chords and scales and how to practice them so that you can solidify your fretboard knowledge. Thanks again. I'll see you soon.